Sean, Diddy, Combs lawyers claim seizure of writings from cell is outrageous government conduct. Lawyers for Sean, Diddy, Combs say prosecutors have engaged in outrageous government conduct by using materials seized from his jail cell to try to keep him incarcerated before a May trial. By Larry Neumeister, Associated Press. They said information gathered in a raid on Combs' cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn were cited in papers the government filed in Manhattan federal court on Friday in a bid to keep the music mogul locked up before his May 5 trial. This is a matter of grave concern that, most respectfully, must be addressed immediately, the lawyers told Judge Arun Subramanian, who already has scheduled a bail hearing for Friday for Combs. They requested an immediate hearing so prosecutors can explain who authorized the search of Combs' cell, where personal effects and paperwork were seized. Later Monday, prosecutors responded to the claims with a letter to the judge saying that the inspection of Combs' cell was part of a jail-wide, safety-related sweep unrelated to Combs or his prosecution. They said the search was planned before Combs was arrested and was properly carried out with an investigator who entered Combs' cell and decided to not examine a manila envelope labeled legal that was in the cell. They added that any potentially privileged materials were viewed first by a filter team of government lawyers not working on the case. The team was tasked with weeding out any confidential communications protected by attorney-client privilege so that trial prosecutors couldn't see them. Combs, 55, has been held since his September arrest on charges that he coerced and abused women for years with the aid of a network of associates and employees. An indictment accuses him of silencing victims through blackmail and violence, including kidnapping, arson, and physical beatings. Combs has pleaded not guilty to the charges and is currently seeking to be free to house arrest through a $50 million bail package. On Friday, prosecutors said Combs has been trying to dodge scrutiny of his jailhouse communications while orchestrating social media campaigns aimed at tainting the jury pool and trying to publicly leak materials he views are helpful to his case. They said he also has contacted witnesses through third parties. In their letter Monday, lawyers for Combs noted that prosecutors in their bail arguments last week acknowledged that they possess possibly privileged materials, such as the notes recovered from the defendant's cell. Combs' lawyers called it outrageous government conduct amounting to a substantive due process violation. They accused prosecutors of viewing their clients' privileged notes to his lawyers concerning defense witnesses and defense strategies. They said information gathered in a raid on Combs' cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn were cited in papers the government filed in Manhattan federal court on Friday in a bid to keep the music mogul locked up before his May 5 trial. This is a matter of grave concern that, most respectfully, must be addressed immediately, the lawyers told Judge Arun Subramanian, who already has scheduled a bail hearing for Friday for Combs. They requested an immediate hearing so prosecutors can explain who authorized the search of Combs' cell, where personal effects and paperwork were seized. Later Monday, prosecutors responded to the claims with a letter to the judge saying that the inspection of Combs' cell was part of a jail-wide, safety-related sweep unrelated to Combs or his prosecution. They said the search was planned before Combs was arrested and was properly carried out with an investigator who entered Combs' cell and decided to not examine a manila envelope labeled legal that was in the cell. They added that any potentially privileged materials were viewed first by a filter team of government lawyers not working on the case. The team was tasked with weeding out any confidential communications protected by attorney-client privilege so that trial prosecutors couldn't see them. On Friday, prosecutors said Combs has been trying to dodge scrutiny of his jailhouse communications while orchestrating social media campaigns aimed at tainting the jury pool and trying to publicly leak materials he views are helpful to his case. They said he also has contacted witnesses through third parties. In their letter Monday, lawyers for Combs noted that prosecutors in their bail arguments last week acknowledged that they possess possibly privileged materials, such as the notes recovered from the defendant's cell.
Recent reports reveal that prosecutors have accused Sean Diddy Combs of violating jail rules at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Allegations include his use of other inmates' phone access, unauthorized third-party messaging services, and attempts to influence public opinion and witnesses from jail. Sean Diddy Combs' jail cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn was searched recently as part of a broader investigation. His lawyers allege that authorities improperly seized materials protected by attorney-client privilege, including defense notes. Prosecutors counter that the search aimed to maintain jail security and that privileged items were handled correctly. This dispute is part of ongoing legal battles, with a hearing scheduled to address the issue and other pretrial concerns. The hearing on May 5th is for Sean Diddy Combs' trial related to serious charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. His lawyers claim a recent jail cell search improperly seized privileged legal materials, which prosecutors deny, citing security measures. This dispute adds to allegations of jailhouse misconduct, such as unauthorized communications and attempts to influence witnesses. Prosecutors argue these actions mirror the coercive behavior tied to his charges, while his legal team insists on improved conditions for trial preparation. Sean Diddy Combs' case has become more intense following the search of his jail cell, which his lawyers argue violated his legal rights. The materials taken included notes allegedly crucial to his defense, which the government claims were handled appropriately. Prosecutors maintain that the search was part of standard security practices and have accused Combs of manipulating witnesses and public opinion from jail. Meanwhile, his legal team continues to fight for his release ahead of his May 5th trial, citing issues with trial preparation and jail conditions. Prosecutors have accused Sean Diddy Combs of using coded language in phone calls with family members while in custody. Allegedly, these conversations included discussions about influencing witnesses and public narratives. The use of terms like pizza boxes and other code words reportedly raised suspicions of attempts to manipulate the trial process. This behavior is part of a broader set of allegations that Combs has been obstructing justice from jail, further complicating his legal situation. Following the search of Sean Diddy Combs' jail cell and accusations of obstructive behavior, prosecutors are pushing to deny his bail request again. They argue that his actions, including coded conversations and alleged attempts to influence witnesses, demonstrate he cannot be trusted to follow release conditions. Despite his legal team proposing strict monitoring under a $50 million bail package, prosecutors believe his release would jeopardize the integrity of the trial. During the raid of Sean Diddy Combs' jail cell, items such as a notebook and a manila folder labeled legal were photographed. His legal team claims these contained privileged defense materials, while prosecutors insist nothing improper occurred and the search was part of a standard security initiative. The details of any further findings have not been fully disclosed, but the incident has intensified arguments against his release on bail. Even if an envelope is marked legal, authorities can't assume its contents without verification. In Sean Diddy Combs' case, a filter team reportedly reviewed the seized materials, ensuring no privileged information was improperly shared with prosecutors. This process is designed to balance jail security with respecting attorney-client privilege. However, Combs' legal team argues that even examining such items infringes on his rights, fueling their motion for an evidentiary hearing. An evidentiary hearing is a legal proceeding where the judge reviews evidence and hears arguments to decide specific issues in a case. This hearing focuses on disputed matters, like whether evidence was obtained legally or should be excluded. In Sean Diddy Combs' situation, his lawyers are requesting one to determine if the jail cell search violated his rights, particularly regarding attorney-client privilege. The judge will decide if any evidence or actions taken during the search were improper. Authorities need to inspect the contents of any envelope for security reasons, especially to rule out dangerous items like weapons or drugs. The legal team's concern is about ensuring that any privileged materials, like notes related to Combs' defense, are protected. The balance between security and legal rights is delicate, and the filter team's role is to review the materials in a way that ensures any attorney-client privileged items remain confidential while still allowing for a thorough security check. A filter team is typically made up of individuals who are neutral or not involved in the investigation or prosecution of the case. Their role is to review potentially privileged materials, like legal documents, to ensure they are kept confidential and separate from the evidence that might be used in the trial. This helps maintain fairness by preventing the sharing of sensitive defense information with the prosecution. The team's primary function is to safeguard attorney-client privilege while allowing security measures to proceed. A filter team is usually composed of law enforcement or legal personnel who are not involved in the case's investigation or prosecution. While they are not necessarily lawyers, they are trained to recognize privileged materials and separate them from other evidence. Their task is to ensure that sensitive documents, like attorney-client communications, are not shared with the prosecution during a search or seizure, maintaining fairness in the legal process. It's difficult to say if Sean Diddy Combs will be granted bail this time. His legal team has proposed a strict $50 million bail package, but prosecutors have strongly opposed his release due to concerns about witness tampering and his behavior while in jail. Given the seriousness of the charges and past bail denials, it seems likely that the judge will weigh these concerns heavily before making a decision. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and leave a comment below. See you next time.